Title: Rudra and the Guardian of Nature. By the banks of the majestic Saras River lay a small village where a 13-year-old boy named Rudra lived with his family. Rudra was not like the other children in the village. He had a special ability to understand nature, the trees, the wind, and even the river, which seemed to whisper to him in a language only he could hear. His grandmother often said that the Saras River was alive and that it only shared its secrets with those whose hearts were pure. Rudra spent most of his time by the river bank, crafting small boats from leaves and watching them sail on the clear water. He loved listening to the river's melodic flow and pondering the stories it might hold. His parents worked hard in the fields, and though they often called on him to help, Rudra always found a way to sneak off to the river. One day, while gazing at the shimmering surface of the water, he heard a strange sound, as if someone was crying. He stood up and looked around, but no one was there. The sound was coming from the river. Confused, he knelt down and pressed his ear to the water. "Help us?" came a faint voice that made his heart skip a beat. He jerked back, staring at the water, but nothing seemed different. The voice came again, this time stronger: "Rudra, you are our only hope." He rubbed his eyes, certain he must be dreaming. How did the river know his name? In the following days, Rudra couldn't shake the voice from his mind. He felt drawn to the river more than ever. One night, while the entire village slept, he sneaked out of the house and returned to the river bank. The moon cast a silver glow over the landscape, and the river looked almost magical. He stood there for a moment, unsure of what to do, when the water began to glow faintly. A figure made of pure light emerged from the river. She had long, flowing hair that resembled liquid water and eyes that sparkled like stars. "Rudra," she said, "I am Saraswati, the guardian of this river. Our world is in danger, and only you can save it." Rudra gasped and stepped back. "Me? But I'm just a boy." Saraswati shook her head. "You are not just a boy. You have been chosen because your heart is pure, and you understand the language of nature. A great shadow threatens our world. The evil Shadow King has polluted the rivers and is trying to drain the life energy from nature. If he succeeds, all life as we know it will end. You must journey to the source, the place where all rivers begin, and restore balance." Rudra stood speechless, but something in Saraswati's voice touched his soul. "How can I do that?" he asked hesitantly. She smiled gently. "You will receive help on your journey. The wind will guide you, the trees will protect you, and the river will show you the way. But you must be brave and believe in yourself." Before Rudra could say more, Saraswati vanished, and the glow from the river faded. But before disappearing completely, she left a small bottle of crystal clear water on the bank. Rudra picked it up and felt a warmth flow through his hand. He knew his life would never be the same again. The next morning, he woke up with a sense of purpose he had never felt before. He told his grandmother about his encounter with Saraswati, and to his surprise, she was not shocked. She brought out an old, dusty book from a chest and said, "This is your destiny, Rudra. This book contains stories of our ancestors who also fought against darkness. Read it, and learn from their wisdom." With the book and the bottle in hand, Rudra began his journey to the source. The landscape changed quickly as he left the village and entered the forests. Here, he met his first companions, a talkative parrot named Mitu, who knew all the secrets of the forest, and an ancient banyan tree that could speak and offer guidance. Along the way, Rudra learned about friendship, courage, and trusting his instincts. Each challenge he faced made him stronger, but the dangers grew as well. The Shadow King's minions, dark creatures made of shadows and poison, pursued him relentlessly. One night, as he rested under a starry sky, Saraswati appeared again in his dream. She told him that his journey would soon reach its climax but also warned him, "The Shadow King has polluted the source. If you do not stop him in time, the entire world will be consumed by darkness. Only the water in the bottle I gave you can purify the source and restore balance." With Saraswati's words in his heart, Rudra pressed on toward the source. When he finally arrived, he was met with a sight that nearly broke his spirit. The source, a vast, luminous lake from which all rivers flowed, was covered in a thick layer of darkness, and the Shadow King stood at its center. His figure was tall and menacing, his eyes glowing like embers. "So, you're the little boy who thinks he can save the world," the Shadow King said mockingly. "You're too late. Soon, everything will belong to me." Rudra felt fear creeping in, but he reminded himself why he was there. He thought of his family, his village, and the river that had given him strength. He gripped the bottle of crystal clear water tightly. "You're wrong," he said firmly. "I'm here to restore balance." The Shadow King laughed and sent his dark creatures after him. But nature stood by Rudra's side. The trees around the source came to life, forming a protective barrier, while the wind blew so fiercely that the creatures were thrown back. Nitu flew toward the Shadow King, distracting him while Rudra ran toward the source. With one final, courageous step, he opened the bottle and poured its water into the polluted source. The light from the bottle exploded, engulfing all the darkness. The Shadow King screamed as his power began to fade. The river started flowing clear again, and life returned to the land. As the light finally subsided, Rudra stood in the middle of a sparkling source, surrounded by clarity and peace. Saraswati appeared once more, this time as a radiant figure of pure joy. "You have done it, Rudra. Your faith and love have saved our world." Rudra felt a wave of pride and gratitude wash over him. He knew he could not have done it without his friends and the help of nature. Saraswati gave him one final gift, a small amulet to remind him of this journey and his connection to nature. When Rudra returned to his village, he was greeted as a hero. The river was clearer than ever, the fields bloomed, and nature thrived. But for Rudra, the greatest victory was the deep bond he now felt with the world around him. He learned that even the smallest actions could make a difference and that love for nature and family was the greatest power of all. From that day on, Rudra was not just seen as a boy from the village but as a guardian of nature, a reminder that we are all connected and responsible for our world.